They say diamonds are a girl's best friend, but who would have thought a ball, some dirt, and a little sweat could be just as fun? Today, Sports Scene gives you an inside look at the Lady Mustangs and the hard work they put in but rarely get recognized for. These are the women of MSU sports. The Texas heat is a long way away from the temperatures of Ontario. Skylar Warwick sat down with a dynamic duo who hit the ground running to Wichita Falls.
They say 2 is better than 1. Cross-country head coach Kobe Stiles didn't realize Ontario would bring double trouble to Wichita Falls. Now, if you think you're seeing double, then you'd be right. Meet Kim and Michelle Krasanoski. These Canadian twins came to Midwestern to run cross-country.
Coach was recruiting me originally. He found me. He didn't know I had a twin sister, and he called me up, and she was too sick to go on the recruiting trip, so I went for her-ish, and I told him, "Hey Coach, I can't come, but I have a twin sister who also runs," and he's like, "Oh, you have a twin sister," so Kim came down, visited, and it turned out a good match, and I fell in love with it. She loved it. She fell in love with Western, and then I just decided to come here because we wanted to go together.
Being an international student means getting a degree in 4 years. The Krasanoski sisters find prioritizing time between practice, pre-med classes, and lifting weights is especially important.
There's a lot of pressure. We're constantly juggling homework and athletics. Some days, you just have to prioritize what you need to get done, what time you need to get it done, and how good you want to get it done. We have 6 a.m. practices, and then we come back from class and have to do homework and travel and then do homework too. You just have to sacrifice some things, but in the end it's going to be worth it, and just get through it.
As freshmen, the duo helped the Mustangs to a 4th consecutive Lone Star Conference championship and the team's first South Central regional title.
It was really, really close, and Coach couldn't tell, and we were all standing around in a circle and talking, kind of nervous because you don't know how you did, and then all of a sudden he comes over screaming, and we're just like, we won, and we were just so excited. I remember grabbing the trophy, and we have a picture of us all jumping off the stage, holding the plaque that we got.
And placed 11th nationally at the NCAA Division II Championships in Spokane, Washington.
We woke up and there's 3 inches of snow, and our coach is like, well, we're out to compete, run 6 kilometers, and we ran 6 kilometers in the snow, and we finished 11th as a team. And I just remember when Coach told us that we came 11th in the nation, we were so happy, but so motivated to do well, the next couple years.
The team is currently ranked number 17 in the nation and looking to take back the top spot in conference. Only race day can determine who will run the Lone Star Conference in 2013.
This year, our 1 through 5 are super strong. It doesn't really mean anything. It kind of gives you a positioning where they think you are. I believe that, in my mind, we're top 10 or under, top 5, but rankings can change anytime. It doesn't matter until you're on that race course, running that race in those conditions.
Skylar Warwick, MSU Sports Scene.
Not all athletes are created equal. Brooke Long talked to one extraordinary member of the tennis team about her career abroad and at MSU.
There's nothing common about women's assistant tennis coach Leah McDaniel. From her late start in her hometown of Wrexham, Wales.
I actually don't really have an early tennis background. I didn't start playing until I was 13, which is really late for tennis players. And I kind of got into it because I went to a school's tournament and came last, and I didn't ever want to come last again, so I begged my parents to let me have tennis lessons. And then I was really lucky in that the city that I live in has a really good tennis academy. So I got picked up almost straight away by the coaches there and started working there with a high performance center and a Welsh national coach that's really good. Played there until I went to college. Tennis is expensive in the UK, and so my parents always understood that if they paid an investment into our tennis, we would get an American scholarship and they wouldn't have to pay for college funds. So I actually have a sister who went a year before me to play tennis at the University of Wisconsin, and when she left, I just emailed all the coaches that she was around or all the coaches that she knew and said, hey, looking for a tennis scholarship, anyone want to give me one? And so ended up getting a scholarship at Texas Tech and went there for 2 years.
To an injury during her college tennis career that for most would have been devastating.
I got stress fracture in my spine and bulging disc. I couldn't get cleared to play in the Big 12 anymore. So I transferred to a smaller Division II school. And I wanted to stay somewhere in Texas, so I transferred here.
But for Leah served as an inspiration.
Oh, it was a blessing in disguise, that's for sure, because when I transferred, I ended up getting more. I got one in my foot, one in my arm, and then I broke my wrist. So it was definitely good for me to move and continue playing tennis, because I never wanted to stay there and not play tennis. You know, tennis is something you do day in, day out, becomes such a big part of your life, that I really wanted to continue with that. And as many times as I've said, like, I don't want to work in tennis or I want to separate myself, I keep coming back to it each and every time, because I love working with tennis, I love working with tennis players, so it really was a blessing in disguise for me.
And while her playing career may be over, she's chosen a new path to stay involved with the sport that she loves.
Now I'm the assistant coach for the women's tennis team here, working with the ladies every day. I love seeing them on and off the court and building relationships with them and seeing them come through things every day. And I think that's probably what's impacted my life as well, is seeing how you can affect people when you work with them day after day after day, and knowing that I can hopefully make a positive impact on them and their tennis and their scholastic lives at MSU.
Brooke Long, MSU Sports Scene.
The struggle of female athletes have been well documented over the years and have yielded many changes, from Title IX to the creation of billion-dollar sports leagues like the WNBA. And though women have overcome quite a bit in the last few decades, Michaela Brown's story shows us some of the old hurdles still exist even today.
For MSU women's soccer captain Michaela Brown, or Mickey, this is a happy time. Brown is a senior graduating in May of 2014 with a degree in graphic design. But the women's soccer team captain has mixed emotions about playing her final season.
It's pretty awesome. It hasn't hit me yet that it's almost over though, and like this will be like my last season ever, so it's kind of bittersweet, but I'm excited. That's why I'm making this one last.
Leader and champion most of her life, Brown played high school soccer at R.L. Pascal High School in Fort Worth, where she not only led the Panthers to 3 to 5A district championships in 2009 and 2010, but was also selected and named MVP of the 2009 Women's Soccer Junior Olympic team, which brought home the gold for the USA. But collegiate play was a bit different for Brown, who appeared in 20 matches for MSU and managed to score 5 goals in her first season as a Mustang in 2010. It was challenging, but after 4 years, says her game has certainly come a long way.
Definitely progressed since my freshman year. I'm more confident in going straight directly to the goal and just taking chances, so I think I've improved.
Improved is definitely putting it modestly, as her impressive play has raised the Lady Mustangs to the top of the Lone Star Conference, winning 2 regular season championships.
Winning 2 rings is pretty special, and I'm a little greedy and I want another one, so that would probably be the highlight so far.
This drive to be number 1 is an admirable quality found in most great athletes, but as Mickey explains, her biggest battles were not always on the pitch.
Okay, well, I'm adopted. I was adopted as a baby, and my whole family is white, so that kind of was interesting growing up in that situation.
Brown does remember people giving her funny looks at restaurants and other places, but as she puts it, they just couldn't understand the relationship between her, a young black girl, and her parents, a middle-aged white couple.
They'd be like, is she with these 2 people? Because my parents are a little older, and they're like, why would this girl be with these 2 people? So it's funny. It's just for laughs, so it's fun.
Michaela, the youngest of her family, says she's always felt accepted by her brother and 2 sisters, but it was her love of the world's game that helped her manage to overcome and accomplish everything she set out to do.
So I guess I would tell freshman Mickey, good job. You made your goal of being captain, and you're still playing soccer. You didn't quit. You survived 2 days. And just to keep going, and hopefully you stick with being an art major. So, yeah.
When asked about playing professionally, Brown says it has crossed her mind, but for now, her immediate goal is graduation.
I'd like to investigate professional soccer, but if not, maybe coaching or reffing. So, we'll see.
MSU Sports Scene, Gavin Bell.
Having lost for the past 8 years, MSU Volleyball knows the true definition of perseverance and what it means to overcome many struggles. Playing since she was just 9 years old, Caitlin Wallace, captain of Midwestern State Volleyball, has striven to be the best in a world where men's sports rank highly amongst students in the surrounding community of Wichita Falls. Caitlin somehow finds a way to continue to give even when all hope seems lost.
We're really maybe not taken seriously enough, or maybe we're not seen as a team that can get it done. It's always kind of been about football or about maybe soccer or basketball, but I feel like that's one thing that they've been trying to work on, is maybe that letting us know that we're still important.
Along with being placed to the back burner, it doesn't help that team volleyball has had a losing season for the past 8 years.
I don't know exactly what it is, like that common denominator between all 8 years, but I feel like that pushes me, especially that I don't want to just leave and have had no effect on the last 4 years. And you're right, we have been a losing program for 8 years, and being the captain, that may look bad against me as well, because it kind of may seem like I'm not really doing my job, but I feel like me and then our other captain are really doing everything we can to change this program. Even if it doesn't show up this year, change it and instill it in all of these girls.
As team captain, pressure begins to build and the stresses are overwhelming, but there's one nightmare that reminds Caitlin the importance of moving forward.
I usually don't get hurt, but in high school I had 4 or 5 injuries in a row happen, and I was completely out for a whole year, and I feel like that was one of my biggest struggles, because that was the first time I wasn't ever on the floor helping the team, or I feel like I couldn't contribute. And I literally sitting out for a whole year really had took an impact on me, because it made me sit back and think what else can I do besides being on the floor, or besides not being right in the middle of something.
Now with the weight of a losing season on their feet and the pressure to win on their heads, it is still easy to give up when you're expected to excel in schoolwork, athletics, and life.
I feel like my biggest struggle has been feeling or maybe giving everything I have and working really hard, but yet, we've been not a losing program, but we haven't really shown results in a while. I feel like that's been a really big struggle, is just knowing that not only me, but us as a team have done everything, day in, day out. I've worked my butt off. I've gone up at 4:30 a.m. to go to practice, and at the end, that it still hasn't really felt like it has paid off.
As a female athlete, Caitlin is aware of what is expected of her and her team.
I feel like perseverance and determination are huge for us, because we haven't given up, and we've pushed through so many obstacles just being here for a couple of years, and I feel like if we didn't have that, we would have just rolled over a long time ago.
For such a talented young lady who has been looked at by other schools such as West Texas A&M, her commitment to Midwestern and her team is commendable in its own right.
I got to meet the girls, and I loved the program and what it offered. It may not have necessarily been the best program that I could have been invited to, but it felt like a place where I could fit in and I could really bring something to the team. I think the best thing about being a Lady Mustang is just the camaraderie we have with all of the other female athletes. I feel like it's awesome. We all get to be together. We get to enjoy the ups and downs, whether it's volleyball, basketball, soccer, tennis. And I think enjoying it together, being able to help each other out, and just the environment is great.
For Sports Scene, I'm Brooke Draper. Although this is a man's world, MSU softball shows that they too can be All-American. For most athletes, sports is more than just a chance to run around on the field. For senior Kim Jarrick, it is an outlet and way of expression in times of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Named one of MSU's All-American softball players in 2013, Kim is now finishing her final season on the team with the hopes of leaving something special behind.
I just wanted to keep having team chemistry because that helps a lot because having team chemistry means you trust each other on the field, you trust each other outside of softball. So that's one thing I would really tell other teams to work on, upcoming teams. We do team get-togethers, we'll do team dinners, we go do stuff as a team, and that really helps with the chemistry and helps us become closer as a team.
As an All-American catcher, she was chosen by several coaches in her region. While 2 other players also received this recognition, the hard work she put in was well worth it as she took a loss that no one could have predicted.
Last year, my grandma passed away from cancer, and so I really had to I went home every weekend, so it was really tough for me because I had to keep on top of school, keep on top of softball. When I came to practice, it just let me lose all my worries. I came out here and played softball, and when I was here, I didn't think about anything else, so it really helped me a lot. My grandma loved watching me play softball, so I just wanted to get better to show her that I can be better.
Being out on the field helped her in letting her know the importance of thick skin and having the mindset to get up when you've been pushed down.
Definitely need mental toughness. It's all softball's all about failure. You're gonna strike out, you're gonna pop up, you're gonna get out all the time, you're gonna make an error. It's bound to happen, so you got to be able to get over that quick and have good mental toughness.
As a female athlete, Kim knows women's sports may not be the most popular with fans, but the Lady Mustangs, whether soccer, basketball, or even cycling, work hard even when no one is looking.
One thing about here, all the female teams are pretty good. It's just we don't get as much attention as those, but we are pretty good, and I think people will realize that if they actually come out and watch the women's sports. But I mean, it's good to know that all the female athletes are really competitive and really athletic, even though we don't get, and we still work hard even though we don't get the publicity that the men's sports do.
This is the same advice she gives to other female athletes working towards success.
Expect to work hard. Don't come in and know that you got a position or you're just satisfied with being a college athlete. Go beyond that.
For Sports Scene, I'm Brooke Draper. Not only is MSU cycling the only Division I sport on campus, but what also makes them special is that they are co-ed.
What is it like to move to the other side of the world? For cyclist Madeline Steele, it has been an entirely new experience as she has followed an unusual path to be involved in cycling.
I actually started cycling really recently, so November last year. I had a road bike. I was riding around, riding to work, riding to university, but I didn't really get into competitive cycling until one day someone convinced me to go along to a come and try track cycling session at the local velodrome in my city.
She attended a women's only session and her natural ability did not go unnoticed. Her coach put her on a 6-day-a-week training program, but with her late start to the sport, she was at a disadvantage.
It was tough trying to break into the elite cycling in Australia, which there's an amazing program, but under the elite program there's not as much. So I wanted really opportunities to race and get better, and so that's why I came to the US.
Moving from Adelaide, Australia to Wichita Falls, Madeline hit the ground running by participating in events as soon as she got to the States.
When I first got here, I went straight from our winter to your summer, and 2 weeks after I got here I had to do Hodder and Hell, and I'm a track cyclist and a track sprinter, so my longest races are 2 laps, which are 500 meters.
This transition would be tough for anyone, but Madeline is thankful that she has friends to help her through the difficult times.
To come here and be a part of a team and compete together and all of that, that's really, really cool. Lots of support. and you certainly get more out of yourself when there's people around you to push you, and yeah, it's been really, really good so far.
The idea of a team is not only great for competition, but Madeline says the structure helps her out in the classroom as well.
Yeah, so it's all about, I guess, keeping on top of things when you go away, because you do go away a lot. But in terms of just like normal training, I actually think it's good for it. Like, I have to get up at 5:30 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for our weight sessions, and so I'm up. You know, it's good, and I have to go to sleep early because otherwise I can't function.
Early morning workouts are not unusual for student athletes, but as a student, Madeline is different than most people at MSU.
My academic situation is a bit unusual in that I am a visual arts major here, but I am a architecture major back home. So I have just started here, but I've actually done 2.5 years of university back home. So you could kind of think of me as an exchange student, someone who's coming over here to get credit, but will probably end up going back and getting my degree back home.
January marks the start of the MSU cycling season. Until then, Madeline and the other cyclists will be training to maximize their potential. Reporting for Sports Scene, I'm Edward Grisham.
As you can see, the Lady Mustangs work hard to show that they too can measure up to the guys. Make sure you stay tuned for our next episode of Sports Scene, where we'll be talking about the progress university officials are making in bringing baseball back to the campus. That concludes this edition of Sports Scene. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube page. Until next time.